Live from the Michelob Ultra House, we're back for Ultra House 3, the threequel. I'm Roger Bennett, this is Rory Smith. Rory, we're not in Harrogate anymore, baby.
No, there's a lot of Everton fans here. I'm not quite sure what that's about. What have you done to America?
Traumatise them, introduce them to pain, hope, and shattered hope. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about lesser teams like PSG and Chelsea Football Club. As the Club World Cup enters its final countdown in 2 days' time at the MetLife Stadium in glorious New Jersey, we've got this incredible showcase, Raw. European champions Paris Saint-Germain face really a Premier League team reborn in Chelsea, seeking to define themselves in the pantheon of the most dominant football club teams of the modern period. Raw, we've got ourselves a Copa das Copa of a final.
We've got the Coppa Gianni final that everybody dreamed of. It is the best team in the world against the fourth best team in England, which is the final that everybody wanted.
Arguably the eighth best team in London, I'll have you know. But I want to begin by raising my first Michelob Ultra of the day to everybody here in the Ultra House. By the way, this whole house is an engineering marvel. It's made of beer. I've been sleeping in it for the past 5 days, and it has been amazing to be in residency here. I'm a bit like Anheuser-Busch, Celine Dion. Tonight, we're going to break down the final together. We're going to bring a ton of incredible guests who will revel in all that is to come, both the climax of the Club World Cup with culinary king Marcus Samuelsson. What a beautiful human being. In life, we just want to do good things with great people, and he is all of that, as are these two, because we're going to look ahead to World Cup 2026 with the quite magical Clint Dempsey. Deuce. And then we also have the always fascinating perspective of a remarkable human being. Jürgen Klinsmann is in our loving arms tonight. But Raw, let me open up by going deep on the game ahead. Get your POV beyond the ref cams, the Michael Buffer intros, the $136 million up for grabs. These are all reasons why we watch. Why did he get into football? Buffer. History's on the line. PSG could win the quadruple. Following on from the Champions League, Ligue 1, the Coupe de France, they could lift their fourth trophy in 3 months. They could finish one of the most dominant club seasons of all time. Raw, they play incredible football, obliterated Inter in the Champions League. They've just utterly wiped the floor of Real Madrid.
Oh my God.
What is it that you see them do that makes them so monstrously unplayable?
Yeah, I've been fully sports washed, Rog. They are. In fact, Mark has said this to me before. There is nothing wrong with that team. Their defence is amazing. Their midfield is incredible. All those João Neveses, the attack, Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Barcola, Dembele, they can hurt you every which way. And I was trying to think of like a weakness. And the best that I can come up with is, I think they're not that tall. That's the only thing. I think the one team that could take PSG down might be like Tony Pulis's Stoke. I think that's it.
Oh, God bless. PSG is crazy right now. There is no flaw in this team.
No.
There's not a single...
It's perfect modern football. It's Luis Enrique's vision for football played out on the pitch, and that is the ultimate coaching job. If you can say, I've got an idea of what football should look like, and I can make these like 11 humans with all of their flaws and their different thoughts and their egos, I can make them do it over the course, maybe not an entire season. It was the Champions League game against City, where they were 2-0 down and they were going out of the mega Champions League. And something clicked. And since that point, they've been untouchable. And it's what Luis Enrique thinks football should look like. It's an incredible coaching achievement.
It's an incredible leadership achievement. It's an incredible footballing achievement. There is such soul in that team. I'd need to ask you, there is another team in the final. Do Chelsea stand a chance? Or is this going to be a little bit like watching Bill Ackman play tennis? You know, when we were at the Michelob Club on Wednesday night, a Chelsea fan who may be here tonight, a beautiful bloke, he just grabbed me and he goes, tell me something that I can feel optimistic about ahead of the final. I told him to watch Luke Skywalker fire a proton torpedo down the air duct of a Death Star. Because I think that's kind of like, or you could put João Neves in the João Pedro in the Luke Skywalker role. But how would you have answered him? Do they have a single hope here?
I mean, weird stuff happens. I've seen Everton win football matches. Stuff, strange things happen, Rog. Cole Palmer is brilliant. João Pedro looks amazing. He can kick a ball really hard. I've always said that it's an underestimated skill in football to be able to just kick the ball really hard. Those two finishes against Fluminense were amazing. PSG are loads better than Chelsea, but stuff happens. That's why we watch.
I was in a taped film with Thierry Henry today, and we shot it right in front of the Club World Cup trophy, which is it's like one of the biggest paperweights known to humanity. I'm quite fascinated to see who the hell is going to lift that up when they present it.
Two-man job.
It's got a two-man job.
Yeah.
I think it takes a team. It's got heft, is all I'm going to tell you. And I looked at it and I thought, they may as well just mail it back to Paris right now. Why they even play the game? But that is why we play football. And to go a little deeper, it's time to bring on our first guest, the gent who is proper football. He's a remarkable human being, Ethiopia-born, Sweden-raised, New York. Coming of age, a chef, an author, a television host. Who says you can't do it all? An Arsenal fan whose passion burns with the heat of 1,000 suns. Self-described Claude Makelele of Chinatown Pickup Football, the proprietor of the, my God, this makes me hungry to say this, the Red Rooster in Harlem, one of my all-time favourite restaurants. Give a New York City welcome for the great Marcus Samuelsson!
This is awesome.
You're surprised. Marcus just goes, this is nice.
Very nice. Yes.
Oh, Marcus, it is so joyful to be with you. Let's start with this weekend's game. Chelsea Football Club, Paris Saint-Germain. One team is a bit kind of golden corral buffet. The other is, again, they've got a chocolate fountain named Cole Palmer. The other is an alchemic composition of perfect ingredients led by Luis Enrique. Our ultra-superior question of the evening. If Paris Saint-Germain win Sunday, complete this historic quadruple, really for both of you, where does this rank should we be talking about great pantheon of European teams, or are we hyperbolic, are we knee-jerk, or are they really right in there in your Barcelona 2011's, this PSG team?
Well, I mean, I think so, right? Like the game against Real Madrid, it wasn't even like after 10 minutes it was over, so they got to be like that Barcelona, the Messi, the Suarez and the Ney or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely the best team since that Luis Enrique Barcelona. That's quite good from Luis Enrique, that he's produced the best team for 10 years and he also coached that one. That's good going.
Yeah.
And they might be, in terms of the way they play, the best team since Pep's Barcelona. And that is ignoring the fact that Real Madrid won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. But I think we can do that. I think that's fine.
What erase them from the El Pantheon?
Let's just forget about them, because a lot of them didn't make any sense.
And that Everton team who beat Crystal Palace to stave off relegation,
Yes.
I think they'd also be in here. But you are about the culinary arts.
Yes.
You know, when you win a Michelin star, in the kitchen, what you did yesterday matters very little. It's about the next shift, the next bowl of sweet potato coconut soup. You've got to go again and again and again. What's incredible is that PSG are able to win, but also fight complacency. Can you talk about how hard it is to maintain that constant standard of excellence day after day?
I think what's amazing with like anyone, like you look at Luis Enrique, right? He evolved, changed the way his team played, and got even better, even doing that trade with Mbappe and getting better, right? That's like a message. And, we do the same in the restaurant, right? You trade something off or you change your interior and you think about how you're going to get better, because whoever is the customer, who is the viewer, you have to get better. You have to evolve. And when you watch PSG, you can tell that he's always thinking about how to get better. And all those units, from defense, mid to forwards, it's the best. Like it's almost perfection, and it's evolving.
We're talking about evolving. We're talking about perfection. Question for both of you. Marcus is proper Arsenal.
Yes. I'm by myself. Yes. Look, we got one.
So you've spent, look at all these poor bastards. You've all spent the best part of the last 3 seasons oscillating between agony and ecstasy. 3 second-place finishes in a row. Will this year be the year? And if so, you should answer this too, because you'll bring a dose of rationality, whereas he's going to talk slightly deluded, high on his own supply wonder. But what will be different in 2026?
Get a striker. It's not that hard. Get a striker. That's it. Get a striker.
And then?
That's it. We'll win. That's it.
I should really say something like, it's much more complicated than that you need to think about the balance of the team. But he's right, they just need a striker. And they're going to get Eberechi Eze as well. They don't even need Eberechi Eze.
Yeah.
Noni Madueke, I think, signed today. That's not bad. I think Arsenal should be feeling pretty confident, and even as a Liverpool fan, it's kind of their turn. All those second places, it's getting a bit sad now.
Please. Just get a striker. That's it. Eze, I love him. Madueke, great, but get a striker.
God bless. When you speak about football like that, I want you to be the manager of the US men's national team. You make it so simple. And talking of that, we are just 355 days from the World Cup, coming to our loving arms across North America.
Yes.
You have seen the glorious rise of football on this continent from the inside. You moved here like me in 1994. What's going to make this World Cup distinct in the eyes of the world? What will make USA, Canada, and Mexico sing globally? Singular tournament.
Well, Mexico will sing no matter what. The vibes, the party will definitely be in Mexico, right? And the Canadians, don't sleep on the Canadians. They can do pretty well. So, I just think it's going to be such a celebration. Look at even the Club World Cup, right? Everybody was hating on it. By the time it came to the quarterfinals and the semifinals, everyone is watching. It's a big party. I think the World Cup's going to be the same. U.S. sports are so set. The basketball season, the football season, whatever. But once it comes to spring next year, it's going to be everyone's going to get excited about it, and I think the best part is going to be right here in the States.
God bless. Can I just say, the Club World Cup has been, in the knockout rounds, has been an ecstatic wonder.
Yeah.
With real dynamic moments. Also correlated with the exact timing the Michelob Ultra House opened. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. But I think the two things do go hand in hand. We have a heck of a final Sunday, and I'm going to ask you to both look into your crystal balls. Spoiler alert it for me. Marcus and Rory. Darmus it for us. PSG, Chelsea, we need a winner, I need a score, we need a sentence match summary.
I would say 3-1 to PSG. I just think they're too good.
Yeah, I think that's right. I might even go one more and say 4-1 PSG. I think Chelsea will... Do you know what? Chelsea will score first. Joao Pedro will kick a ball really hard. And PSG will think, hang on, no, that's not how this works. And do you know what? The tournament needs it. A tournament should prove who the best team is. And the best team in the world are Paris Saint-Germain, regardless. It won't enter if Chelsea do win, it won't be their marketing strategy won't be, we're world champions, but, doesn't really count. PSG are the best team in the world. They have to go and prove it on Sunday.
Can I just tell you, God bless, if Chelsea do win on Sunday, it's going to be 4 years of unbelievable Chelsea being unbearable, and they will deserve
also like Chelsea's coach. He hated on the tournament all the time. I don't think he's going to hate on the 90 or whatever million they're going to get. And now he's kind of liking the tournament, right?
He's a rational man, Marcus. He's a rational man. You are a beautiful human being. I cannot wait to talk about the World Cup on that journey with you throughout the year. New York City, be upstanding for one of your own.
Thank you so much.
The great Marcus
So
Samuelsson.
excited. This is my guy right here.
Ultra House, Marcus Samuelsson, giving out hugs to Arsenal fans only. Raw. Can I tell you, Marcus Samuelsson smells so bloody good, it's unbelievable. It's time for our next guest, a gent I absolutely adore. I give you a clue, no man has scored more for the US men than this gent. 142 caps, representing Nacogdoches, Texas, with his heart and soul. One of the biggest dreamers, doubt-defying footballers I've ever met who represented our nation. Let's hear it for the Bass Assassin, host of The Juice on this very network, a gent whose life motto is have fun and try crap, and I'm paraphrasing. Please be upstanding for the great Mr. Clint Dempsey! Oh, Clinton, it's so good to be with you in person. Clint Dempsey in New York City! God, it is good to be with you. Rory Smith, Clint Dempsey, this is not the first time you've met, is it, Ro?
No, I think Clint once bought me dinner in a mid-range restaurant in London.
Hey.
And I think maybe I made you rap for me.
I don't know.
And Clint, you know
Sorry
what?
about that.
12 years on, I'm really sorry. You didn't need that. You didn't need to be rapping. It was really quiet. And we had an interview, and you don't normally get to eat food in these interviews, but Clint was like, should we eat? And I thought, yeah, we should eat. We had some great calamari.
There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey.
You knew Roy Hodgson was picking up the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Clint, we are 5 days on from the United States Gold Cup final, defeat to Mexico 2-1. We had flickers of fight. Are we cheering for the US?
That's messed up.
God bless. You know what? I love that you've put the Mexico shirt on under the shirt.
He's one of those double jersey guys.
There you go.
He's a double jersey guy. You can tell. He ain't real.
You don't want to
He
know
double
in life,
jersey.
you don't want to know in life what's
Cambio.
on under the Mexico
Cambio.
shirt. The third one is the one we don't want to see. I mean, it was a team that showed flickers of fight.
Yeah.
They overcame weak opposition. When we met half-decent opponent, we joked they were like the Jake Pauls of CONCACAF football. The smoke's cleared. 5 days on. How are you feeling about it all now, if you were to grade the summer for the US team?
I mean, just kind of how we did that last post game when we talked about it. Just you got to see him show some fight, what was good, but there still wasn't enough quality there. Still need to do a better job of inspiring these fans to fill up these stadiums and to believe in them. But you know, you got to at least have some fight, which was good to see. Now we need to see a little bit more quality.
How do you kind of manage to get that fight back in the team when the kind of the first team comes back in? That's a tricky job for Pochettino.
For sure. I mean, you feel like he did something where he's trying to establish a culture, right? And it seemed like they were fighting for each other. Now it's about trying to get that quality there. So, like, when you bring players in, you keep to the same standard of you have to fight for your position to be in here, make training sessions an environment where he's not afraid to sit big names and make changes. And I think he's a manager that shows that he's willing to do that. And hopefully we have a team that's inspired and somehow can have some exciting friendlies to get something out of those to be prepared for the World Cup.
I mean, that's almost an oxymoron. Exciting friendlies. America, get psyched, get hyped for those friendlies.
We're grasping at straws.
I know. I can't
Grasping
wait.
at straws.
They're all in Connecticut as well. They're all in God bless the great state of Connecticut. Get hyped. There is a serious question here. That was our last competitive game. Next competitive game, we will be in World Cup play. Should that worry us? Almost hosting a World Cup is to not really be able to prepare for one.
Nah, for sure, it is worrying. You look at Copa America being the first host country not to get out of the group. That's worrying. Look at CONCACAF Nations League and losing to Panama in the semifinal there. And so then you have Gold Cup, which there was a little bit of flicker of hope in terms of you saw that fight, but it wasn't the most exciting football being played. And then we had to figure out a way to have some friendlies where you're playing against top competition in uncomfortable environments where you're going away from home and your back's against the wall and you're testing yourself. So hopefully they can get that. And the main objective is you got to inspire this nation. You're not going to have another opportunity. They're few and far between to represent your country on home soil like what we saw in '94. So they need to take advantage of it.
As an outsider, I watched a lot of the US's games in 2010 and 2014. That was kind of on my beat for those World Cups. And those were the tournaments where the rest of the world kind of fell in love with that US team. Europeans quite like laughing at America. But those tournaments, there was a real fight about those sides. Like, you felt like...
That was the story for that
Yeah,
team.
there was a story that was being told. It was a group of players who had a purpose of kind of proving to the snooty Europeans that the US could mix it. What do you think this team's story is? What's the story they tell themselves?
I mean, I still don't know, right? It's still chapters to be written and read. You think back to 2022, a lot of young guys going into the World Cup. It's their first World Cup for the U.S., and they were able to get out of the group, put in some good performances, especially the game versus England where they drew. And then you think, all right, we're going to take another step forward, and then we've almost taken 2 steps back. I feel like in terms of Copa America and Nations League, but I still think that there's this optimism in terms of if you can't get excited or get motivated for having a World Cup on home soil and trying to do something special, you saw what the team in '94 did, right? There wasn't a lot of, I'm being honest with you as a fan at the time, I didn't know that the U.S. was going to get out of that group, and I didn't think that they were going to beat Colombia, who was dominant in Cannonball in terms of how they played during the World Cup qualifying. So I'm going to hold on to hope that they're going to get things right. The best players are going to come in. We're going to get some of these players that are fit, like Anthony Robinson, Serginho Dest, hopefully Balogun, get Christian motivated and back in the team, and hopefully Pochettino and them do a little bit of damage control there, and let's get back on track.
Get Tony Meola back as well, baby. Solve all those problems. More mullets. That's what this team need. I do need to touch upon the other storyline because you've hit upon it, and for me it was the agony. You've talked about 2014. You know that fan base was travelling with every kick of the ball. We just lived the Gold Cup, where to begin with the turnout was. I mean, yeah, we did a live show in Austin. You were like, there was more people in our live show than there were in the stadium for the game the next day. And then the game sold out. I mean, Guatemalan American fans had a journey of a lifetime, and I am so happy for them because that was delirious. But they outnumbered the US fans by 9-1.
Yeah.
Same for the Mexico final. What steps do we have to do to rebuild, to restore?
I mean, I think you need to have your best players there. You need people to be fit. We've been a little unlucky there, but at the same time, you need to inspire this fan base through good play. And I think because of like a broken record, I keep repeating the same things, but because of some of these failures of Copa America not getting out of the group and how we performed in CONCACAF Nations League, and then not having your best players for Gold Cup, whether it's injuries or what have you, or FIFA Club World Cup, people weren't excited enough to go out and support and watch those games. So you have to give them that passion to fill up the stadiums. And I felt that passion when in 2010, 2014, walking to the stadiums before games and seeing the crowd, seeing the energy, like my man right here represent with them diamond grill in his bottom teeth.
Last question for me. Pochettino, Raw talked about fitting the big players back into this new culture. It's a very tricky piece of messaging. He's got some tricky decisions. Who does he bring back? Who does he leave out? You know, there will be that discussion. There's going to be some surprises. You know, as a former player, what messaging do you think Poch should be giving out now that will get the biggest response from the best players?
Well, I think that's where you earn your money as a manager, is how you deal with players and how you manage, right? You can do the tactics, and when you have more time, you're able to implement more of your style into the team. But I think it's creating a culture and creating an environment where you're not afraid to make big decisions, and people have to check their egos at the door, and everybody has to be bought in and be aligned with the game plan and believing they're moving in the right direction. And at the end of the day, he's going to be judged on how they do in this World Cup, whether it's a success or failure of how they perform. And not getting out of the group will be a catastrophe.
I think the US will get out of the group. I think there's no shortage of talent. The one thing in the teams that you were in that people would have said was, we're not sure if there's the depth of quality. That you had, a dozen players who were playing in Europe that we'd seen in the Europa League, in the Champions League, that we knew could compete with the best that Europe had to offer, the best that South America had to offer. Now there's 14, 15, 16 US players who have spent ages in Europe. There's no problem with quality. I think finding that little bit of bite and hunger in the Gold Cup, even when you lose the final to Mexico, that's the thing that's been missing. You need that little thing of, okay, we've got a point to prove. Also the maths. So just do a little bit of math. 12 groups. That means the US are top seeds and all the good countries have gone. All of the good countries they'll be in other groups. The US will get out of the group, and if you can get the country motivated for it, then that's when being host is an advantage.
Exactly.
One of the joys of working with Rory this week in New York is that to find out he's actually making a run for mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
The position's open.
I know. This man, I just love a man that comes over.
He's not your typical English journalist either. He's positive. I like this guy.
I can't believe it, genuinely. I'm the most negative human being in the world. Raw is lifting me up. And I'm like, I turned to my wife, I said, yeah, but he's from Yorkshire. How does that even work? I've never met this kind of thing. I do love you pandering. Raw has declared we're getting out of a group that we don't know the other teams are in it.
It's going to be fine. It'll all be fine.
It will be bloody fine.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever met a positive English person before?
Hey, I like it. He's making me believe again, so.
I will say, Steve Coogan declared what an English person is. He said if you give an average English person a choice between their own success and your failure, they'll choose your failure every single time. Raw.
Yeah, but I do that, but just for Australians.
Yeah. You are the most American English person I have ever Englished in my life. But Clint, I want to say I adore you. Being with you this summer has been one of the highlights of my professional life. It really has. Listening to you, moving around this nation with you, seeing how football fans in this nation react to you. They're both reacting to you for what you've done on the field wearing our nation's jersey. I think,
Appreciate you.
I mean, a proper legend. A proper legend.
Appreciate y'all. Don't do it, Raj. Don't do it. Hold it together.
I'm gonna rein it in. But I also think, to be honest, watching fans engage with you in this here and now, we react to you because you take us back to a more nostalgic time for all of us when we had that sense of hope, when we felt like those delirious heights that we dreamt of were possible. So I want to finish the night by bringing on another guest who was alongside you in that time. A gentleman who won the World Cup as a player, managed Germany to just a dizzying moment for that footballing nation, then came and he challenged us all in US soccer to think differently. He was really quite a brazen truth teller. We didn't always like to hear what he had to say, but my God, it was both important in the moment, and I think a lot of people have gone back to hear his words and are like, wow, what he said, there is kernels of truth that have come true. It's a joy to have him here. I love him because I filmed the Thunderous campaign in Brazil. I got to live with the team. I got to live with Clint. I got to live with Jürgen's squad that created so many memories. So it really is very meaningful to have them both up on stage with us today. Let's welcome to the stage Mr. Jürgen Klinsmann. I'm going to say, to sit with you both is to have the years roll away. It feels like it's 11 years ago.
Feels like we're back at a press conference.
You're not playing tomorrow.
Come on. Take the hard questions.
Jürgen, it's so good to see you. I want to talk about the past. I want to talk about our present. But Clint, I asked you 3 weeks ago on one of our first shows together, I said to you, who was your favorite US manager ever? And you didn't hesitate to answer.
I mean, I'm not a complicated person. You believe in me, I'm going to believe in you. So, in all honesty, though, to have a manager who's played at the top level and has been one of the best players in the world, to believe in you and to give you the honor of making me captain and forcing me to dig deeper as a teammate to do more, I always will be grateful. So thank you.
Jürgen, how did you remember Clint? Because you made him captain. Yeah. If you can tell us one story, one anecdote that kind of captures the essence of Clint Dempsey, what would it be?
I mean, it's just his natural ability to decide games pretty much on his own. And I don't think that we had so many players in the United States, that can do that so easily. I mean, there was a game, 100th anniversary of U.S. soccer. We played Germany in Washington, D.C. and we beat Germany 4-3. And he pretty much destroyed them by himself. and I remember Jogi Löw coming over, who was my former assistant coach at Germany. I said, "Who's that guy?" Who's that guy? I said, "That's my hero." We have one too. And no, he made it look all so easy with his capabilities, his natural instinct for finishing things off up there, and also obviously that's why he became also captain, was his honesty and being straightforward and telling you also things that you maybe not expect to hear as a manager, because asking your opinion is also maybe something that is controversial, it's different, maybe you have a different opinion on whatever it is, and he was always straight and that was very enjoyable.
Was he a chest-thumping captain, or was he like a leading by example captain?
I think both. I mean, you could have talks real quick about the issue, or he was out there and screening if everything is all right. And a national team environment, especially if you go into a World Cup, or then we had 2016 Copa America, is keeping the group in a balance. You together 2 months, 4 weeks preparation, 4 weeks the tournament, if you stay until the end of the tournament. And it's all about chemistry and being respectful and figuring ways out to keep everybody in a good mood. And not only the players or the coaches, it's an administrative department, a medical department, a media department. I mean, you deal about, as a head coach, you have about 60, 70, 80 people to deal with and make them all happy. And so you need a captain that smells things. You need a captain that smells the street, in terms of, there's something going the wrong direction, and he gives you then that input real quick and say, watch out here, watch out there, because we want to go far in the tournament.
God. And you did go far in our hearts in 2014. That is still the World Cup that made so many fans who knew nothing about football fall in love with both this team, these players, this game. At the end of it, I mean, it was an agony, but it did feel that everything was possible. The football was collective, the fight was there, the fans were there. Even the English press, we were laughing about it, who, let's just say, when they can be, they don't need much of an invitation to be dismissive. Henry Winter wrote the following. He wrote, "The American fans chanting, 'I believe that we will win,' simply reflect the inexorable rise of the sport in their country. They are now a respected force in the global game." When I read that, I found it 3 weeks ago. It made me tear up. That was a moment. We feel like we're in a very different place. But did it feel like that to you, Jürgen, in 2014, that US rise was unstoppable?
Yeah, I think we felt like it, because the crucial thing is, how to get a team that does really well in the group stage and beats big nations, like we almost beat, obviously, in the second game Portugal with Ronaldo, and we sent him home, and Ghana. But the key is there. How can this team believe in itself that what you do in a group stage, you're going to do also in a knockout phase? So there are two tournaments you're playing. The one tournament is the group stage. The next tournament you start is round of 16. And we all know from our Mexican neighbors, when they dream about the quinto partido, that it is difficult because it's a mental side of it, And that's where you hope then that we can get this nation kind of over the hump to say, we deal with the knockout phase the same way as we do in the group stage, and get to a quarter, to a semi-final.
So what changes? Because the US is pretty good at getting out of the groups. We've already established in 2026 they are getting out of the group. The maths is done.
I think that team started to actually understand that and believed in it. And then 2 years later, we went to the Final Four in the Copa America. We beat Paraguay, we beat Ecuador, and then we got a lesson, obviously, from Messi from Argentina in the semi-final. But I think it shows you that, yes, you can do it. Absolutely you can do it. But it needs, you need to be able to suffer a lot, to go through pain. The fourth, the fifth game in a tournament is brutal. You might have to go through extra time, which we did with Belgium then. And so that's a learning curve, and I think we went through that learning curve, and I hope that the current team is capable to understand that mechanism, and Mauricio will guide them this way to feel really strong enough inside to be ready to suffer.
I always think US soccer should ban Mick Jagger from entering the changing room after you get out of the group stage. Whenever we get with the group stage, we don't know if we're going to get out of the group stage. We get out of the group stage, and then they all drink beers, and then Bill Clinton comes in with Reggie Bush and Mick Jagger, and I'm always like, not Jagger! And it's almost as if, what's it like for you? It's almost like something flicks in your head, oh my God, the whole nation is now looking at us. And that next game, and as you hear Jürgen say, the group stage is one thing. That's your focus. You get out, but then knockout football. I mean, you've talked before, it's like you're hungry, but by the time you're in the knockout round, you feel, how do you describe it, that you're full? How is it as a player, that change for you?
I mean, you're in one sense, you're excited about getting out of the group, but the job's not done. It's not like we're all thinking, all right, we got out of the group, now it doesn't matter what happens. Everybody still wants to win those next games, and to be fair, the two that I was a part of in 2010 and 2014, we took those games to extra time. So it wasn't like we didn't fight to the very end. So at the end of the day, we just came up short. We didn't have enough in the tank in those two tournaments. But it was, how it is. It's just little things that make the difference. And we just didn't have what it took.
So why can't we, Jürgen? You see Iceland have their journey. You see Wales have their tournament journey. You see Morocco go to a World Cup semi-final with just dizzying collective play. Why never us? What's stopping us?
We got protegido now.
There's nothing that can stop you if you deeply believe in it, because you have the quality, you have the talent. It's down to that group of players with their coaches and with their environment to dig it all out, to make it happen. There's nothing that can stop you if you're 100% or 1,000% convinced of it.
Jürgen, in 2006, when you were in charge of Germany, that campaign, obviously Germany ended up not winning the World Cup, but it was really important for Germany as a country to see the flag flying again, to see that kind of first vision of modern Germany. And it always feels like in the US there's pressure on the coach not only to win games, but to like spread the word of soccer. How much harder does that make that job?
It doesn't make it any harder. It's actually a pleasure. It's an honor. It's something that you're proud to try and to give your best. I think the atmosphere in Brazil 2014. I think we had the second most fans of all countries in the World Cup. Were you Americans? Yeah.
After the host country, in two back-to-back
So
World
there
Cups,
was
it
a
was the US.
huge togetherness with the fans, and we were super proud of representing that movement and getting far and exciting, and playing exciting football. And in Germany, it came to a different time. It came to in a moment where the country was looking for getting more and more reunited, to represent, a movement that happened in Germany after reunification. It was the first time that the country was allowed to host a big tournament again, and we were just thrilled that the people had the strength actually to show the German flag again and hanging it up in their cars or out of their windows, because for us German, because of our history, obviously, we were always timid about that stuff. But the team played good football. The country, the fans embraced that team, and we made it to the third place at the end of the day. But football can make those movements happen. It's fantastic. It's something that is going so deep, and when you feel that together with the people that live it and love it, like we felt it in Brazil. We felt super proud. I mean, he got a call from Barack Obama then, and say, hey guys, unfortunately we go home, but it was fantastic. Tim Howard had the game of his life against Belgium, and so we felt good, and then we went in the Final Four for Copa America. So we thought everything is on the right track.
So let's talk about this. I mean, Mauricio Pochettino right now has been very clear that he's still trying to do something that you had to do. He said publicly, he's shocked by the way the Argentinian players will fight to wear their nation shirt, will, batter their opponents. They'll batter each other to be able to represent Argentina. And that he's still trying to work out how Americans, think about it, that they'll pick and choose when to play. How hard is it as an outsider to understand the American mentality, Jürgen?
It's learning by doing. I think all of us come from different backgrounds and look at things differently. And when I came here 27 years ago, I live now in LA, I asked my wife, obviously, question after question. I asked friends, how does this work? How does that work? I asked the players all the time, what is right, what is wrong, Pulisic wanted to go to his prom, and I didn't know what a prom was. So I had to ask the guys, is that okay if the kid goes to a high school dance? And I called my wife, and asked her, the kid came to me, and he wants to go to a high school prom. What am I doing? And she said, you got to go, let him go. And so I had to learn a lot, and I hope I did. But I mean, it's football is about being tolerant to everyone involved in it, and I think that is one of the biggest challenge for American soccer here is to accept all the different ways of looking at things and dealing with things. And you have a mixture of guys in your team, with different backgrounds. And some have South American, Mexican background, some European American background, some Texans, and
that's right,
and Californians, and you learn about every one of them. You learn, okay, they're different, they're coming from different spots, like we all are, and this is, I love that. I mean, I embrace that, and these 6 years I was on guiding these guys was a huge honor. I mean, I learned so much from them. But at the end of the day, it's a player's game. It's not a coach's game. It's a player's game, and they decide on the field how far they want to take it. I mean, you can do a substitution, you can do a halftime talk, you can do a couple of things as a coach, but it's like this, minimal. It's them on the field, they make the decisions. That's the beauty of soccer, is that the decisions are made by the players, and then you're just there like a fan, and you just hope they're taking the right decisions. Like he, after a couple of minutes against Ghana, scores a goal, and we all freaked out, And I think often we forget that, and it's especially after he has his own kids playing the game, and it's when you want to teach the kids, it's not teachable soccer. It's something they teach themselves. You're there to give them a safe environment and hope that they have fun, but they're going to progress them by themselves. So this is always a discussion I had to do with a lot of people here in this country, is that it's a player's game. They make it.
Do you agree? I mean, how much can a coach do, Clint? How much is it the players?
Well, I think it's important to select the right players, to create the right environment, to have a culture where, I say it all the time, that through training, you figure out what that starting 11 is going to be, that it's not just guaranteed. People feel like there's spots up for grabs and you can fight for that. And then, allowing you to go do your thing. Give players the freedom to go express themselves. And, our time together, I felt like we were pretty successful.
As Yorkshire's preeminent under-sevens coach, I'm gonna take the idea that it's a players' game and just do no work at all next season. Just like, this is up to you guys, nothing to do with me. Jürgen, the US have got the players. There is no shortage of talent, and that's the legacy of your team. That, these guys in that team who are 20, 21, they will have grown. I don't want to make you feel old, but they will have grown up watching you. They will have been inspired. We were talking about our first World Cup memories. Mine's 1990. Yep. Yours is 1986, which is odd, because I'm pretty sure you're younger than me.
I was born in 83, but I was watching VHS tapes.
VHS took a while to get to England.
Okay.
So did electricity.
They will have grown up
and
watching...
ice cubes.
We still don't have aircon. Their first memories will be from 2010 and 2014. You inspired that. There is no shortage of talent in Pochettino's US team. Is there?
Absolutely not. No. Look at where they're playing. They're playing for Juventus Turin. They're playing for AC Milan. They're playing all over Europe. And this was always the dream, that our players are good enough for the top leagues in Europe. And now they are over there. And now he wants them to come back and grab the things here for their national team and take it to another level. This is what you always hope for, and I think the potential is absolutely there.
I've got to ask you this, Jürgen. Pochettino's relationship with Pulisic, it does right now. It feels like it's make or break for this cycle. Does it remind you at all of the complex relationship you had with Landon Donovan? Do you see an echo in the two things?
No, I never had a problem with Landon until I told him that he's not going to Brazil. but it was a purely footballing decision, because we felt, all the coaches, that his time was kind of over and more talent was there and the better player were going to Brazil. So it was purely out of technical reasons and nothing else. The relationship with players for managers is crucial. I mean, there's no doubt that Maurizio and Christian need to stick really tight together and go through issues and talk it out, having a couple of beers or whatever it takes. It is the relationship for getting a team far in a tournament between the coaching staff and the players needs to work. There's no doubt about it. They need to be comfortable. They need to believe in what we all are doing. They need to have an open word also, saying their own things, but Maurizio is so experienced. He coached big teams, so he knows all that. He took Spurs to a Champions League final. We almost made it, and I think they work it out. They're going to work it out.
Christian's big mistake was not to use the prom excuse for this Gold Cup. It would have been slightly weird if he said, Maurizio, I need to go to the prom. So don't listen to me. But if you had one piece of advice for Pochettino, you've run this team, you've run them through a World Cup cycle, you've worked with America's finest, you've met the challenges, you've overcome them, you've gone on your journey. If you had one piece of advice for him, what would it be?
He doesn't need any piece of advice from other coaches. He coached already on the top level. He knows how to deal with the players. He knows how to kind of deal with different characters. And you have a squad of 26 players going to a World Cup. He knows how to handle them. So people management is the majority of the work for a manager of today. The rest is all done on the field, the tactical approach, the physical pieces to it. But the relationship with your players needs to be good. you know, and I'm sure that, I mean, he has done that in the past and he will do it also here.
But we do talk a lot, not just in the States, about maybe younger players now not doing what you talked about Clint doing, that it does seem that kids who've come through academies don't take games by the scruff of the neck quite as much as they used to. So does that make it more complicated?
Well, you're a child of your environment, you know, whatever your environment is, your family, your friends, your place where you live, your city, you're a child of that in place, you know, and he became the player that he is because he grew up in a certain way and had this fight mentality in him, and so the neighborhood we grow up, you know, will define our future, and the coaches understand that, you know, the coaches dig into that. They try to understand every player where he's coming from. The Marcus Beasley is different, you know, than Clint or Michael Bradley or Jermaine Jones, who came from a very, very tough neighborhood in Frankfurt and grew up there and fought his way through like hell, basically. And so you need to realize, you know, how they think and how they take things.
I mean, you spent the summer with me just shouting at the television saying, somebody step up, grab the game by the scruff of the neck. So, like, how do you understand that, Clint?
What do you mean?
I mean, you've watched this team. You just wanted someone to step up, take people on, you know, show them, just go at it.
Yeah, I mean, there were moments where you saw that, whether it's Tillman, whether it's Diego Luna, Chris Richards, also chipping in with goals, even though that he was a center back, but doing a great job back there. I think it's just doing it more consistently, right? Doing it week in and week out, and that's what we'd like to see from more players. But yeah, like you said, you're a product of your environment, and the fight that you go through in your life is kind of what makes you and drives you forward. Like, you have to figure out, what is your why? What is your motivation for doing this, and how far do you want to take it? Do you get, you know, full from just one victory or one accomplishment, or do you keep setting the bar higher and higher? And you have to be someone who keeps setting it higher and higher if you want to do something great.
Amen to all of... Go on.
You look exhausted.
Well, I've been playing for PSG in 104-degree heat. We're in the final on Sunday. I'm just still regenerating, but I have no doubt we will have victory. One question I do want to ask you both. Jürgen, last question for you. If you've got the power to go back in time and have a do-over, the ability to change one decision that you made on that 2014 journey and make it differently, with hindsight, what would you change and why?
No, I agree absolutely with Clint. We took it to the extreme and came short. That was all right. I wish we would have gone further, but we accepted it.
The only thing that I would change would be Josie didn't get hurt in that first game. He was able to be the number 9, and I was able to play underneath him in a more natural position. I think we would have been a little bit more effective.
Agreed.
That would be it. It was just the Josie issue. You play number 9. You hate playing number 9.
Well, I'm just not your typical number 9. I'm not someone who wants to play with their back to goal. I like to be on the half turn and linking up with people, driving with the ball, giving goals off of a Josie, Obafemi Martins, or players like that, and create for myself in that way. I'm not someone who wants to sit up there and hold the ball up and let other people come into play. I like to be the person that's in the pockets. That's what I felt most comfortable in that
Absolutely,
position.
Jürgen,
Yeah.
there's nothing...
we thought, you know, Josie did all the preparation. He was top fit, you know, finally shook off all these extra pounds here and there. And that, you know, he's unbeatable, you know, he's unbeatable. And then he goes down, you know, from muscle injury. Said, no, he's but things happen.
There was nothing that you would, like, retrospect, not a substitution, not a change.
No,
not
it is then what it is. You got to deal with it, and you make the best out of it, and you adjust it. And so Clint cannot play his favorite role then. So maybe out of the 100%, you know, he gets in a different position, and he's 98% there, comfortable, kind of in his own way. But he's still scored our goals.
Can I ask you, how often do you guys have memories, if at all, of two? Would you be fishing on the Nacogdoches River and just the ball floating towards you in Manaus will come to you, and you'll think about it. Will you be like up in the helicopter, and you'll think of the ball dropping, spinning, Wando is steaming in. You're like, oh my God, we're going to do it. Like, do these memories come to you? Do you live with any of this, as so many people in this room do? Or is it just a chapter that is closed for you both?
I mean, for me, it's when kids ask me questions and you kind of go back in time to those moments and kind of relive them, or they show you something on YouTube and you kind of describe what was going on at the time. But for me, unless it's something brings it up, it's kind of stored in a vault and waiting to talk about when asked upon. But I'm not sitting there mowing the yard or in a deer stand thinking about, you know what I'm saying? The header I scored against Ecuador in the quarterfinals of Copa America.
You mean you're not like in a store and like pushing your trolley around and saying to people, do you want to talk about the 2010 World Cup?
No, that don't happen too often.
Jürgen, what about for you? Like, do your footballing memories come back to you, or have you drawn a line and you're just living life in the present and the future?
No, I think the memories come back when you talk to people and they share those memories that they had when they maybe saw you play or coached and afterwards. And when they, no matter if I have traveled to, like I coached now South Korea, I went to Asia, or when I traveled to South America, and they say, you know, they're in Argentina, oh, we saw you in 1990 and you did this to us, you know, and we didn't win, you guys won and that's not fair. And so you share these memories with the people that lived through those moments, then it comes back. But normally I'm not living in the past.
I will say to you guys, both of you, raise a beer to both of you and close with a toast. I think there's a lot of human beings in this room who do think about that ball dropping in that opening Ghana game. Ghana, again, they always do us. And Clint Dempsey within seconds reeling away in wonder. I don't know what went through you. I love when you say everyone was freaking out. You've said it twice and I just love it. When he scored, what did that feel like for you? After years of working on this thing, by the way.
Well, I think that's the joy of, I mean, for us fans, for, you know, as coaches on the sideline, because we are not on the field and they make those moments happen that you just, inside of you, you just explode and say, yes, you know, because I think the joy is far more deeper when somebody else does it than maybe when you score yourself years before that, you know, because you're working so hard, you want to give them hopefully the right, whatever information or the right feeling for make things happen, but it's them making it happen, you know. So when these moments come and then it really happens, it's just fantastic.
Is it joy or relief?
It's joy, pure joy, yeah. And then you share that with the other coaches on the bench, with the physiotherapist, with the equipment manager, and I had a moment like that. We coached Germany in 2006, and the third group stage game was against Poland in Dortmund, 80,000, and it was 0-0 and 0-0 and 0-0. And I just pushed them forward. So you gotta score this goal. You know, we're gonna qualify early. And then I made 2 substitutions, and it happened that, you know, these 2 guys, they connected. And in the 94th minute, you know, Oliver Neville scores the goal, 1-0 against Poland. They brought in a kid, 20 years old, Odonkor, from Dortmund, and he ran down the line. He was the fastest on the field. He almost ran out of the stadium because he was so fast. And then it happened, and the whole stadium, like it was in that moment with Ghana, exploded. And we saw then the images afterwards, you know, the television images, how we celebrated on the bench. We always thought, are you actually out of your mind? You know, how you screamed around and freaked out and all that stuff. But I think this is the joy of this game, because you share it together with everyone. The one is sitting in front of the TV and screaming at the TV, or you on the sideline.
I agree with Jürgen. I mean, if you're not celebrating like that, you ain't passionate enough about it. There has to be something that it's an emotion that you can't control, right? You feel like you can run through a brick wall. That's what I loved about soccer more than any other sport, the feeling you got when you scored a goal. And especially to do it for your country in big moments, there's no greater feeling. And if you're not getting excited, you know, yelling at the top of your lungs, bringing yourself to tears, then you're just not invested enough in it.
So let's close it out. What did that moment feel like for you? Because I once interviewed Diego Forlan, and he said scoring a goal in a World Cup is like an orgasm, but better.
I mean, I wouldn't say all that. I would say for me, it's like running through a brick wall. For me, it was payback. The coach for believing in me of being captain. For me, it was setting the tone in the World Cup as the captain. And anytime that you could represent your country and get the country believing that you could do something special, that's what I dreamed about as a kid. So for me, it was just living a dream.
I just want to close in the toast. You're both remarkable gentlemen in your own way. You're also symbols, I think, for all of us of a really nostalgic time now, for all who love the game in America. Time when we had the fight we dream of, the collective spirit, the mass fan base who travelled and shared in the spirit, really a spirit of togetherness. So I want to raise that to unity, to fight, to belief, to resummoning it, because when we have that sense of togetherness, everything is possible, especially American glory. New York City, please be upstanding for the incredible Clint Dempsey and the quite magical Jürgen Klinsmann. Clint Dempsey and Jürgen Klinsmann. Raw, that is it.
I'm really inspired. I feel really inspired.
To do what exactly? To try and get your citizenship and play for the United States of
I
America?
want to help America win the World Cup, apparently. I don't know why.
I think we can get you in the 2030 team who are going to defend the title. That did not go down very well. I'm going to say that again. The 2030 team who are going to defend the title. Let's be deluded together, America. Raw, that is it. We cannot wait for the final that lies ahead. Your New York tour's coming to an end. We're going to go and get some Joe's Pizza endorsed by Jack Grealish, so it must be good. What's been your favourite memory of the New York experience, Raw?
If I'm completely honest, it's the food, I think. But it's just been incredible to see the kind of the vibe around. And it is, the Club World Cup, it's the first one. It was always going to be kind of it's a beta test, isn't it? It's a beta test. That's what's happening here, is that there's a tournament idea that is being worked out. But you see what it's become in the last week or two. And you think when you look forward to what 2026 will be like, it'll be incredible. And I think, as part of my pitch for Mayor of New York, next summer will, with any luck, be my 5th World Cup. My 5th Men's World Cup, 7th or 8th in total. And the thing you need with a World Cup is a heart. A World Cup has to have a heart. In Rio, it was Copacabana. That's where the fans went onto Copacabana. In Moscow, in a different time, it was Nikolskaya in the middle of Moscow, and you saw the Colombians come through and the Ecuadorians, and things changed. The colours changed. And in Doha, I wrote this in my newsletter. There was a giant thumb that they put in the souk, and it was just a big golden statue of a thumb. Qatar can do what it wants. If they want a golden thumb, they can have a golden thumb. And if you sat there during the day, then you'd see the different groups of fans pass through, the colours change. The US, Canada, and Mexico need somewhere like that next year, and it will, I think, have to be in New York. So New York is going to have to deliver. Rog, this is really easy. I think I could be Mayor of New York.
And the campaign starts out. This whole thing was just a fundraising rally, guys. Going to solicit you on the way out. Donations are all tax deductible. Which brings us to an end. We're going to come down and have a beer with you. I want to thank you for having us in your loving arms tonight. I want to thank Michelob Ultra for making the superior beer. And this house, made out of 195-calorie beer at a time. Raw, I want to thank you, you beautiful human being. I've loved every second in your company. New York City, let's always revel in every second watching football together in each other's company. Big love, courage. Thank you.